everyone. So, I'm looking forward to chatting to all of you today. Just waiting for a few people to log in to this Facebook Live with the Korevaar. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Michelle Korevaar. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I've been on a life purpose journey over the last 3 years of absolute chaos, really trying to work out what my purpose is. And today's theme is inspiration. So I'm going to share a little personal rendition of my own personal journey as to how I leaned on things that I found inspirational and the things that I think are important for all of us. I'd love you to comment. Please comment, let me know that you're here. I want to be able to say hi. Please ask any questions that you might have. I think my biggest wish and hope for my time with you now is that possibly some of the insights that I've had over this last, specifically 2 months, may bring some meaning for you. And in the words of Oprah, what I know for sure is that you, me, and we, in this time, in this global pandemic, in this history-making time, our collectivity, our connectivity, our communion as a human family is really, really important. And it's been tough. But the choices that we make is really where the real power is. And I know that sounds so cliche, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If I suppose when things get tough, we get 2 choices. We get to choose to find out how we can make the tough times work, how we can grow through those times, or possibly give in to possibly what the tough times bring for us. So I am a marketing strategist by trade, and in a nutshell what that means is that I love people, I love philosophy, and human behavior absolutely fascinates me. I love learning from the works of philosophers and gurus from all walks of life. And really the golden thread in all their teachings is that each individual act by each person counts. And some of my greatest learnings have actually been from ordinary people who have, through their life choices and actions, left us with inspiration. Something that might be of interest to know about me is that I am a Camino pilgrim. And basically what that means is that you go on a really long walk, and it's all about finding the way. And I was actually supposed to be off on a Camino tomorrow actually, and I suppose you're going to hear a whole bunch of metaphors about the life journey and the milestones and the paths that we're on as individuals and the steps that we take. But essentially, we're all on this journey together. What I honestly believe, and what has become really, really evident to me in the last little while, is that the life that we are given is very much about digging deep. And we need to find out past what we've learned and been taught and what we've absorbed as beings on the treadmill of life, to find out what really matters to us as real people. And it is about finding the way, but it's about finding your own way. And I wonder how many of us actually give ourselves permission in the busyness of our lives to find the things that make us live a fulfilled life. So if you're taking time with me today, please take out some paper and pen, and I'd love you to write down some of the questions that I'm going to ask you. Hopefully they'll be relevant, hopefully they'll make you think about things that you've either thought about before and can maybe articulate a little bit, or possibly there'll be new questions that you haven't given yourself time to consider now because of the absolute chaos, because of the busyness of our lives. So what is the definition of inspiration? The dictionary definition is actually quite bland for a word that gets given such huge amounts of attention. And I'll be honest, when the team from the August asked me to do this, I felt rather overwhelmed. I'm just a girl trying to find my way in the world, and inspiration sounded like such a huge word. But essentially the definition is that it's a feeling of enthusiasm that you get from someone or something that gives you new and creative ideas, art and great works of architecture and people in history. Those are all things that have inspired us. And the first thing that I would like you to do is write down what is your something. So what is that something that inspires you? And on my quest to find out the definition of inspiration, I came across quite an ironic piece that says it is the drawing in of breath, the inhalation, that is inspiration. And if I were to take the two definitions and add them together, it connects why inspiration is so special to me. Because for me, inspiration is a life force. It's the breathing in of the things that keep me going, the things that resonate with something deep inside of me. Sometimes I don't even know why. Values and aspirations that I deeply connect with and I resonate with and I can relate to. And possibly you can relate to a time or experience when you have felt an inspiration. And I'd really like you to write those things down, because I think inspiration goes so much deeper. I don't think any one of us has the same feeling about inspiration. And with COVID, I find it fascinating that the word inspiration has relevance to breathing, and that COVID's hugest side effect has really been about taking away our ability to breathe. And in many ways, many of us feel that our dreams have been taken away from us. The life that we knew and the goals that we've been aiming for and that we've been, vision boarding and working towards, whether it's the buying of a home or making your career significant, getting fit, whatever it might be for you, what those goals might have been, a lot of the space and the playing field has changed as to how we can make those dreams come true. So my second question to you would be, has this COVID pandemic made you question your life? Has COVID made you dig deep and ask yourself, is what I've been doing in all areas of my life in proportion and balance to my dreams? COVID for me has been a hugely emotional time. I've seen friends and business acquaintances fighting for their lives as their businesses came to complete halt from one day to the next, with very real worries of how to provide for staff and keep businesses in operation. And for myself, I felt like a fog had settled on my path. And many days I felt very lost. So many of my plans, which I felt were coming into fruition, these things that we chase, had become null and void to me. And the opportunity to a lot of what I had planned had fallen through, and the negativity and the hype and the drama that has escalated over not just a month or two, but it feels like almost a lifetime. But the last 6 months has created quite a lot of anxiety for me. I like to know where I'm going. I like to have goals. I like to chase rabbits. That is my personality. And I was desperate to reconnect with that something, that inspiration, despite the trauma around me. So I started writing down in my diary, actually writing in my diary words and actions I saw in daily life that inspired me. One of the first things that I remember is how nature just continued. It just, I sometimes wonder if the powers that be look onto us as humans and go, sure, nature, we allowed humans to come in, and they were a little bit of a bad experiment. But getting back to some of the inspiration and the words that I wrote down, where I've worked with a peer group of women entrepreneurs, and as a consultant with companies, these peers, these friends have shown immense courage and perseverance, and every day held some other huge mountain that needed to be climbed, and very much a fall down 7 times, get up 8 inspiration was there for me. That never give up, you just need to keep going forward. So my husband is in retail, and my philanthropy work had us both working harder than ever from the beginning of lockdown. We were like ships passing in the night. He was adapting his service to help the grocery stores have products on the shelf, and he was incredibly worried about his team on the front line. It weighed heavily on him. The inspiration we spoke of that he was getting from his team is that despite the very real threat on not just their own lives by being on the front line, but also going home every day to their families in a very unknown environment. Right in the beginning, we didn't know how it was going to get transmitted, who was going to get it the most, etc. And obviously, as it unfolded, we got to learn more. But his team inspired because despite severe adversity, they went over and above to do what needed to be done. And I think of any hero or heroine story, that's so true, isn't it? We are in a time where we are needing to step up as heroes and heroines in our own story. And I'm sure that, I hope that all of us in our youth or after a good Marvel movie have imagined what it would be like to be a hero in the world. But in real life, it takes a lot more effort and perseverance than sitting on a couch for an hour or two. And I soon found this out for myself. I went onto the road rallying for donations. I got a special permit so that I could help some of the social entrepreneurs that I developed relationships with over the last couple of years of my nonprofit organization launching. And I basically put out a call to action to anyone that would listen for donations of foods and supplies, and then got onto the road and traveled down roads I've never traveled before. I'll never forget how crazy it felt in my little van packed full of goodies donated by kind people who, despite their own situations, were digging deep to help those in desperate need, and how the roads were absolutely bare, no one was there. And visiting these social entrepreneurs on the ground who in a normal world before COVID battled every day, and now they were the ones that were picking up the mantle, the shield, the fight in the real cold face of taking action to be there for members of their communities that were left destitute by the situation. And the inspirational element that I learned from them is that action speaks louder than words. You know, we can all talk a lot about how bad things are going to be, but when people start doing things that can positively contribute, it really, really does make a difference. Most days I would come home devastated. I was part of groups of people where, you know, we were supplying them with food, and you've got children gathering on communal fields with a small little container to take away their meal for the day, and it was heartbreaking. And by week 5, I was really mentally battling to find the emotional capacity and energy to get out of bed and keep doing it. And I also felt a huge amount of pressure and responsibility. The seeing the very real poverty, the abuse that was happening, the illness, the general distress, was really taking its toll. But yet there was inspiration. The thing that kept me going was that everyday people were taking action to help those in need. And even though they didn't have much, everyone was doing something. And these social entrepreneurs on the ground had 1,000 times more pressure than me, 1,000 times more work. Every day they kept making food for the increasing numbers of people in need. And that was mind-blowing for me. These people I would never have thought I would have had anything in common with in my life became the people who I most resonated with and who filled my soul with hope and love because of their selfless service. And they became my heroes. The other inspiration was the people that were rallying in support of the mission to get help to these people. And strangers, people I'd never actually met that happened to live down the road with no strings attached, just got stuck in and did whatever we needed to do and became the backbone of a movement where a lot of small choices of being active became enough to help quite a lot of people. 190 days in, the work still continues and hasn't stopped. And it's because of these phenomenal people who are all making the choice to be part of making a difference. And that for me is hugely inspirational. So I was working hard on an amazing Mandela Day initiative that we'd put together. We'd managed to get enough support to support over 100 ground-based organizations who were feeding the vulnerable, and we had a mission of 67,000 meals. And never would I have believed, even though I had possibly thought about it, I didn't really comprehend, even as it was happening, that the COVID virus would become my own reality. I never realized that this huge epiphany of Mandela Day doing something phenomenal that would really show and inspire the world to do the same, hopefully that was the plan, that I wouldn't even be there. But instead I would be looking after my husband who had contracted the COVID virus. I'll never forget the day I had to leave him at the back door of the ER entrance of a hospital as he could hardly walk. He was so ill, he never even realized I wouldn't be able to go inside with him. And as he wobbled into the passage, it was definitely one of the most difficult times I've experienced. And a huge part of me was screaming inside at that unfairness of why us, why him, why me? Haven't we done enough? The kids were distraught, and in the last few years, we've had quite a tough time. And I'll admit I got really, really mad. The same day that I admitted him, I found out that I was also positive. And that I actually, just thinking back, it's been a month now. I can't I can't believe that we came through that tunnel. But somewhere in the craziness, it was like someone pushed the rewind and replay button of some of the tough things that my family and I have gone through over the last few years, which includes debilitating illness, grief. We had a huge fraud case where we almost lost everything we had, which we then had to fight desperately for years to try and regain. I had this flashback to one of the hardest things that ever happened to me, and that was after my husband had been in for a really big op to eliminate what they feared to be an aggressive cancer. My son came to me and said, "Mom, I need help." And he was suicidal. And he had been for some time. He was 20 and he didn't want us to worry or think he was weak. And he taught me that through his example of saying, "Mom, it's time. I need to live my truth." And he has. I realized in this whole space when I was driving home from the hospital, my own symptoms getting worse, that if we could have got through what we did, possibly it was because we had had the practice and we had developed the muscle so that we could find a way, and we would find the strength and we would find the courage to climb this mountain. So my hubby was admitted to Code 3 ICU, where he went through extensive treatment to save his life. And I had a vast range of different reactions from different people. Some were, "Don't worry, they say it's like flu and it'll be over soon." And then there were the others that showered my entire family with huge amounts of love. And kindness, that word, like love, is so small, and yet it was so significant. That kindness of the people truly carried me and my family through what I can honestly say was a really traumatic time. It's a bit of a fog. The symptoms really do take away your brain cells. One day mixes into another. I remember feeling deep grief for people who suffer from life-threatening illnesses, just wondering, as one day moved into another, how people go through this, and so many on their own, and that they have no one. And I realized the power of community is so hugely inspirational, and yet somehow in the busyness of our lives, we don't even know our neighbors. We don't even know the people that live, close to us. And how much time do we take out to spend time in communion with people that we love and care about? And I can honestly say that the experience has changed my life forever. I'm in huge amounts of gratitude to say that we are all on the other side, and my husband is back. The power of positive energy, and thanks to the angels in my circles, they carried us through prayer, through kindness. They left food on our doorsteps, and that unconditional love got us through. COVID definitely has a mental effect on you. I think it's possibly the scariness of what you don't know. When Anthony he had 9 days in ICU, and when he came home, we had 10 days of isolation that he had to not be in contact with anyone, not because he was contagious, but because his immune system needed to recover and he had to rehabilitate. And we had some real deep, meaningful conversations, and my husband's a real alpha male, so this was quite profound for me, at least, on the evidence of life purpose and the fulfillment that we all chase on this hamster wheel of life, thinking that our goals and our missions are hugely important. But I really do believe that the crisis that we find ourselves in, the traumas that we find ourselves in, give us an opportunity to reevaluate and find the real meaning. And we think that fulfillment comes from stuff, but there's a phenomenal Swami, and I just want to share this with you, it might be of value, who wrote the Vedanta treatise. And he speaks about how as humans we will never be sated, we will never be filled, we will never have enough of stuff. He also talks about how choices are given to humans. So he speaks about how a lion can't choose to become a vegetarian, and he talks about how animals are given a nature, and that is who they are, and how us as humans are so privileged because we get to make choices and define our own paths. And it's a hugely inspirational book. So yeah, the Dante treatise, it's called The Eternities. So I'm convinced that COVID, in a sense, has inspired us to learn how to breathe real purpose in our life. It's forcing us to declutter the energy around us, the people around us, the choices that we make, the things that we surround ourselves with, the values that we feel passionate about. And yes, it's a really difficult time in our lives. And I suppose we get to choose. And where to from here? We have lost the power over many things. We're not sure where the path is going to lead. But what we can do is we can get clear on how we individually, as humans, in our own capacity, want to breathe. What is our own authenticity? Looking hard in the mirror, there's another great book, what to ask the person in the mirror. And you know, when things are tough, we will often blame and get angry at the environment around us. But I think it's really, really important that we take this time and we look inside, because how often have you allowed yourself or given yourself the space to be able to ask yourself, what inspires me? What is that something that fulfills me? What is it that I want my life journey to be made up of? What paths are paths that I'm taking because I want to take them? Or am I just going wherever the paths may lead? And who's influencing me in doing that? And so the question would be, how has your journey up until now made you who you are? And do you know, based on that, where you want to go to from here? For example, your dreams. Are those dreams yours, or are they dreams that have been shaped by the world's expectations of us? The systems are falling everywhere. And I really believe that as human beings are becoming more vocal about things that we care about, and that we're not willing to just go with the flow on someone else's path or choices. So what do you want? What makes you happy? For real, deep down, what do you classify as significant? What inspires you? What inspires you with its grace, its peace, its beauty? And will you make a commitment to take time to find out, so that you can choose your path going forward that will allow you to truly fulfill yourself and your purpose? Money is a reality, and I don't think we even can comprehend where we will be going from an economic perspective. But does that mean our life stops? Does that mean that we don't get to dream? What does prosperity really look like? We are not sheep that get to be herded by a never-ending cycle of consumerism. We don't need to buy stuff to be fulfilled. We are in fact seeds that have been given a purpose to grow and to grow strong and then to bear fruit. And a seed needs to crack before it's able to take root. So if this has felt like a really hard knock for you, is that not an opportunity for you to take root, to own your authenticity, to do the things that you feel will leave your legacy on this earth? The heartache, the challenges, the tough time that you might be feeling, and I know every single one of us have our own journey. Maybe it's a gift so that you can fulfill the inspiration that you can bring to the world. What do you want your fruit to be? So, in closing, my lockdown has really taught me some very valuable lessons. I do realize that this is a journey, and I don't really believe that we ever get where we want to go, because even if we give ourselves a destination, once we get there, do we stop? No. We choose to take other paths. And striving to get to a destination can often leave us feeling empty. You have many huge, big, phenomenal business people, companies that are making it, but are they fulfilled? Are they happy? So we will always get to the next place and then get to make more choices. And this is one of those times and that you get to choose. And I hope that you choose you and how you can be in service rather than in servitude. The difference between service is to give of yourself freely in a way that makes you happy. To be in servitude is something that you feel you need to do, and you will do it because you have to. Our power comes from being present, asking ourselves how we can grow, taking cognizance of the things that we are grateful for in our lives, and really getting clear on how we can add meaning and inspiration to even one other person. See, the message for me would very much be that we are the change the world needs. And as much as what we might feel that we are small and possibly insignificant, we are like candles. One small candle can light another, and in turn that candle can light another, and it becomes exponential. So you, my friends, are the light this world needs. My closing request would be to surround yourself with things that inspire you, and that in turn will keep your light bright and significant. So if there are any questions, please feel free to post them for me. I am on Facebook. If you'd like to connect with me, I'm also on LinkedIn. It's been wonderful spending this time with you. Thank you. And I will see you again soon.